Hi guys, I'm here again. This is my kind of second session today. So for this session, we're going to discuss about the business and a technical issue about the decentralized exchange. And then, as you may know, at this moment in Japan, coin check trouble is one of the major issues about the exchange businesses. And also, most people start discussing about how we're going to solve this problem. And then one of the solutions that's the most people talking about, why don't we take the, exchange business and the system stuff in a decentralized fashion. So this is the main topics for these sessions. And then before starting these sessions, I'd like to introduce you guys to each panel. So could you guys introduce yourself? Yeah, starting with Lu.
Hello, everyone. My name is Loy Liu. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Kyber Network. So we are a decentralized exchange that really focuses on both security and usability. So we make it, extremely easy for the users to, even non-technical users, to trade on our platform. And we also guarantee the liquidity on our decentralized exchanges, which is a major problem in most of the decentralized exchanges.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fabio. I'm a co-founder of Neon Exchange and EX. We are a decentralized exchange that is a hybrid, actually. We have an off-chain matching engine. So our goal is to have super high performance and integrate with current systems and future systems while providing a good user experience for both institutional trading and retail trading.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katsuya Konno, CFO of Quoine. We are the only centralized exchange here. And Quoine is a licensed exchange by Japan Nakatsu. And we got the license in last September. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm going to take the 3 questions from here, and after that, I'm going to open the question to the audience. So my first question is that what's the problem in centralized exchange? Who's guys wants to go first? Maybe Katsuya-san? Yeah.
Okay, so I think the biggest problem in the centralized exchange is the hacking.
Got it.
Yes. So this is the Japan's shame, but the 2 biggest hacking what happened in Japan, Mangox and Concheck.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this hacking problem is so we cannot. So we need to compete with the hacking every time, every day. So we need to focus. So that's why Quoine is focusing on enhancing the security on our platform. And also that's why we need the internal compliance policy to avoid the hacking and internal fraud.
Right.
Yes. So yeah, I think the hacking is the biggest problem for the centralized.
So which ones? Yeah, you want to go first? Blue?
I guess apart from security, transparency is also a major concern in centralized exchanges. I think recently there was a report saying that most of the volumes on a few exchanges are fake. And I mean, personally, I do not know, whether the report is correct, but it's possible for centralized exchanges to fake the volume and also to do a lot of price manipulation.
Okay.
Another concern is the centralized power. We have seen that many centralized exchanges, they have a lot of requirements, and sometimes they ask for a lot of money to list new coin and tokens, which is, I think, is not good for the ecosystem.
Okay. Got it.
I think to add to security is custodian, how custodian is made, and actually when you actually own your assets. I think that's a big problem. Also, it's a problem that is growing when you start to have institutional investors investing in crypto. So,
I see. I understand that. So, institutional investment perspective is kind of interesting topic because, at this moment, in exchange business stuff, it's kind of combined model between consumer side and also more institutional investor side. But the system requirement to securify the assets for consumer side and institutional investor side is a little bit different because the size of the money is totally different, right? But so from the technical perspective, as Katsuya-san mentioned, we have to should we separately approach these problem each other each, or should we build an integrated solution to attract the money to the crypto exchange stuff? What do you think?
So we believe the cryptocurrency will become mainstream in the financial industry in the future.
Okay.
So, and when that happens, the large hedge funds and the global investment banks will definitely come to the crypto world,
Okay.
right? But when they come to the crypto world, the only decentralized exchange cannot deal with them,
Okay.
right? So then they need a centralized exchange and a high performance platform
Okay.
to deal with the large liquidity.
Okay.
But they really need the security as well.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's why so enhancing the security is very, very important for centralized exchange, because the centralized exchange needs to protect the customer's assets,
Right.
and the financial industry, financial institutions need to build the trust between clients and financial institutions.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. Do you guys also want to add some comments on this now? Yeah.
I think the core here is the security side, also how you guarantee the ownership and how you have, how you prepare to fail. If you are hacked, how this impacts, right? How big can be the impact if there is a compromise on the system. Even decentralized exchanges, right?
Right.
So not every system can be flawed, even protocols and things like that. So should be baked on that methods to avoid the escalation of the problem.
Right. Yes.
So I guess I just want to differentiate between the security model between centralized changes and decentralized changes. So in centralized changes, it's secure because the exchanges just obscure all the infrastructure behind the centralized servers. So basically, external users or other people, they cannot know what's happening inside their servers.
Right.
But for decentralized changes, we secure our platform by being open source, being transparent, and having everyone to look at our code and audit it before we deploy. And the environment that we run is a decentralized one. And that, we have a lot of thousands of, PCs and nodes on the blockchain to secure it. So that removes the trust between the users and the exchange when they come to decentralized changes.
Right. Got it. Yeah. So we find out at this moment two major issues for discussing about the centralized exchange and decentralized exchange stuff. One is about the security. The other one is about the liquidity. So let's move to my second question. So, Tokyo Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, usually all major exchanges require usually centralized architecture of their system. So usually they're going to use an in-memory database, which is usually process over 1 million transactions in a second, so it's quite fast. But when you are thinking about the public blockchain technology, the Bitcoin TPS is 7 and Ethereum TPS is 15 or so. So this is a very, very fundamental question. So do you think it is technically implementable to build the crypto assets exchange in this decentralized fashion, and why?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So
yeah, sure.
I think so. And
Good.
that's the proposal, right? So, and I think the key here is to realize that even in NASDAQ, the settlement does not happen at the speed of the trade. Okay. So even though they have this in-memory database where you have collocation and everybody's racing to the millisecond, the actual settlement happens many cycles after. So I think we can replicate the same system in blockchain. So we have, so that's what we propose at Next. We have this off-chain trade system that actually is much more performant. But then you have a second settlement thing that then you make these trades final. So you do have a window, but it is a control window. And the reason the exchanges like NASDAQ are the way they are today has many historical reasons and are driven by changes in regulations and so on.
Right.
I believe if they could make from scratch today, they will probably have a blockchain.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at Nasdaq and other stock exchanges, right? They already they have like 20 or 30 years of experience in building and improving their infrastructure. But we just started talking about decentralized exchanges, I guess 3 or 4 years ago. So I guess the correct question to ask is whether scalability is a fundamental problem or is this just the current problem?
Okay.
And I believe that with a lot of scaling solutions that people are building, including state channel, federated sidechain, and proof of stake, plasma, and many other solutions, scalability is going to be addressed soon.
I see. So do you think you guys also apply like plasma cash or like Lightning Network technology into our decentralized exchange system too?
Not at the moment. We have our own scaling solution. We are going to release it later. Yeah.
But you see the potential that you can apply, technical concept of the plasma or Lightning Network would be applicable to this.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting topic. Okay. Katsuya, I have a question. How many can you guys share how many transactions you can process per second in a Quoine?
Our system is now 1 million transactions per sec now, and we plan to expand to 5 million per sec in 2-3 years.
I see. So that's your target.
But 5 million per sec is the same level of the traditional global investment banks, like Merrill Lynch, Deutsche Bank, and so on.
Right. This is a kind of additional good discussion point because currently those like institutional investor gradually allocate their assets to the crypto too, and the OTC market it's kind of a hot topic right now in exchange business stuff because to maintain like the price volatility in exchange business stuff. Once those big players get into this industry and although like millions in dollars or something the prices suddenly goes up and goes down. It's like a rocket, like a jet coaster. So to avoid those kind of volatility issues, like OTC exchange is kind of a good opportunity business there. So what do you think, guys? How you guys approach to this OTC market? Centralized exchange player or decentralized exchange player?
So of course, as you said, we cannot deal with the large size of the OTC deal in our exchange. So that's why we are separately doing the OTC business.
Okay.
Yes. So and so that last week we got a 200,000 BTC selling deal. So amazing.
It must be from the Mango's Foundation.
Yeah. Mango, yes, I believe so. Yes, but so now there is a huge demand on an OTC deal. So I believe the DEX can be a platform for the large OTC deals.
Now,
the centralized exchange cannot.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree. I think and we are actually going after this market. So I think OTC tables also need a kind of dark pool, and there is research on that because you don't. If you are decentralized, you need to be trustful, but you don't want people to see this huge sell or buy order that can manipulate market prices, right? So price discoveries needs to happen outside. So there is research, and it's proven that you can use zero knowledge proofs to actually prove that your order book is correct, without showing it. And we are going after this kind of technology to actually bring liquidity to DEX. So I think this will be a huge market to bring liquidity to DEX without competing with centralized exchanges.
Right. I see. Yeah, you want to go?
I personally know a couple of projects that are working on a decentralized dark pool trading for cryptocurrency. One of them is Republic Protocol. They are also based in Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think building a OTC trading desk for cryptocurrencies is doable. in a decentralized manner.
Right, I see. So thinking about more like digging into the OTC market business opportunity there. So I guess probably the KYC in an OTC will be more different one compared with the centralized exchange. What do you think, Katsuya?
We are doing the same KYC for the
same KYC?
OTC deal. Yes, because we are the licensed exchange.
Okay.
So we need, so we have a strong, strict policy for the AML KYC.
Okay.
Yes, so that's why even though this deal is the OTC, we are processing the same KYC process.
But you don't see any kind of like, let's say like a gap or something like, identify that, user in that kind of complete the same process? Because in the consumer side, usually we're going to provide just like my address, passport, that's it. Also send it some kind of paper or something for the verification or something. But in an OTC market, like you can confirm more like a detailed information over a counter side. So what do you think about you don't need to approach more like an elaborate or sophisticated KYC policy to the OTC table?
Yeah, so even though OTC deal, the OTC client is our client as well. So we need to follow the same KYC process for the OTC dealers as well. Yeah, so this is our policy, but I don't know the other centralized exchanges deal with OTC business, but for us, we would like to be a financial institution in a crypto industry. So we are having a very strict KYC AML policy and compliance, governance, something. So that is our rule.
Got it. You guys want to add the solution stuff?
Yeah. So being a DEX people see as an opportunity to trade when they couldn't trade. So is really tricky. So we are a company in Liechtenstein, and we are ECU and security. So we have lots of legal obligations. So we also do, even though we are a DEX, since our matching engine is off-chain, we also do KYC. So we like Quoine, we KYC the same way because they become clients of our company. So even though they are doing OTC or they are doing on the DEX itself, it should be the same AML regulations. So yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
So at Kyber network, we also require the users to do the KYC, but we attach the KYC, the identity of the users to their Ethereum or wallet address. So the idea here is, they just need to KYC with us, register their Ethereum address with our platform, and later on they can just use that address to sort of like authorize themselves to trade on our platform.
Right, got it. I see. That's very interesting discussion. Okay, so let's move to the third question. So can decentralized exchange collaborate with centralized exchange?
Yes. I think one thing that is not going away very soon is the need for fiat in ramp ups and ramp out, right? And this will be done by centralized exchanges. And centralized exchanges can better serve the local market also. So at least I foresee a future where you have decentralized exchanges working as global players, like a global pools of liquidity, even for centralized exchanges to connect also. And then you have local markets where you have big centralized exchange players that handle the fiat part, banking partners, and things like that.
Got it. Interesting. Yeah.
Yes, I think so too. So
good.
of course.
Very happy to know about that.
So we are the centralized exchange, and so we plan to launch the new centralized platform called Liquid. So we are already connected to over 20 global exchanges, and we plan to aggregate all the order books which we are partnering with into the one platform called Liquid. So Liquid can be connected to the decentralized exchanges as well.
Right.
And so when the large OTC deal comes, then we can give the flow to the decentralized exchanges.
I see, understand that. Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I guess centralized changes, they can also leverage all the research and all the experience that decentralized changes have, built and done so far to, secure their platform. So we have seen that several centralized changes already discuss about their decentralized, initiative, including Binance and Huobi. So I think it's a good approach for them to build a much better or more secure trading platform for their users.
I see, that's interesting. So thinking about like in a secure transaction between like a centralized exchange and decentralized exchange from like a liquidity perspective, currently like atomic swap is one of the hot topic about how we're gonna deal with that kind of technical issue. How do you see the kind of a technical development progress about atomic swap at this moment?
Atomic swap for within the same sort of chain is easy. We are doing it. But for different blockchain, like for example, between Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's gonna be more difficult because now you need to get some sort of marketplace for people to get together and explore the counterparties. Recently, I saw a few other exchanges using atomic swap for their exchange, but of course, the marketplace is pretty centralized.
No,
Yeah.
I see. So it's on the progress. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think atomic swap is gonna solve this issue. I would say that order book sharing and a standard of how to share portions of the order book are more important to solve this issue.
Okay.
Yeah, like if some centralized exchange or decentralized exchange wants to provide liquidity to this market, he could share this piece of his order book. So I think this kind of technology is more important than the atomic swap itself.
I see. That's interesting. So do you guys also build some kind of a module, or like, a technical tool to manage those kind of booking, like, a feature on your system?
Yeah, this will be inside the APIs. When
Got
you put the order, you can choose the order book market and the hash of the order book. So you can have multiple order books for the same market.
Cool. So which means that, Quoine and Next can collaborate with each other. Katsuya, you want to add something else too? Here?
So we are the centralized exchange, so that's why we don't need the atomic swap things. Yeah, but in the anti-crypto space, the demand of the stablecoin is very, very high. And so to make a smooth settlement between the exchanges and between the users, right? So the not atomic swap, but I think if we can, so now the USDT, so Tether, is the default stablecoin, but so still unclear on
I see.
Tether, right? So if we can have a much more reliable stable coin, so we can use that stable coin between centralized exchange and decentralized exchanges. So
got it. Interesting.
So speaking of stable coins, right? Why can't just some centralized chain just build some sort of USDT and public order audit for your bank account, because you already have the ability to take USD into your bank account, right?
yes.
So what stopped you from doing that?
Yeah, but so the fiat is always a problem in the crypto. So the many banks frozen our bank account, right? Right. So and even if we have a license, but many banks banned our bank accounts. So the fiat always the problem. So crypto exchange is running 24/7, but fiat is stopping during the weekend, the
Right.
Christmas, and
Right.
long holidays. So that it's not good for the crypto economy. So that's why we think the stablecoin is very, very important.
Oh, that's kind of interesting topic. How do you see the future about crypto to crypto exchange transaction? Because like some exchanges starting working on that, right? So Binance is a good example maybe because So how do you see the volume growth of those transactions? Let's say next 2 or 3 years. Must be absolutely growing up, exponential growth you can expect, or like steadily growth, or how do you see the future? Yeah, crypto to crypto. Because once we're going to build the crypto to crypto exchange and if it's a major stream of the industry, well, we don't need a bank anymore.
I think they're gonna explode as soon as we start to have usage. Because usage is gonna require trades between. We have so many utility tokens, and they're not gonna stop appearing. Okay, so if people use using these applications, then they're gonna need to acquire these tokens somehow, and there's where crypto to crypto happens.
Right.
So I think they're gonna explode as soon as we have usage. So I have a high hope that the gaming industry and the entertainment industry will start to use cryptos.
I see.
And that will drive this token to token trade.
Right. I see. I agree with that.
Yeah, so I also think that it depends on the adoption of crypto in the real world.
Okay.
If we have more users to start using crypto and have own crypto, then we see the demands of trading and converting to other crypto and tokens.
Okay. Got it. I see. Yes.
So I think the crypto transaction will go exponentially in this year and next year.
Cool.
It's because we are seeing the exponential volume at our exchanges.
Right.
So we are having the cryptos platform, the crypto-only platform. We are now offering the over 50 coins on cryptos, and our transaction volume is 6 times since the last December in 3 months.
Wow.
Yes, so there is a huge demand now. Yes.
Cool. That's interesting. Okay, so I think my questions are also. We'd like to open a question to the audience. So does anyone have a question to us? Yeah, go ahead.
How is it going to work while listing of coins, and who is going to be responsible for that? And what would happen if you list a scammy coin, for example, on the centralized exchange? Who will be responsible?
Go ahead.
So currently for Kyber, we also need to ask for the legal opinion from the coin issuers, from the token issuers. And as long as they are not a security according to Singapore rule, then we can just list them.
Yes, for next is also depending on the legal team, and because of AML and so on. So even though sometimes they are not a security, you can also not list them. Like you have some rogue states doing coins now. You don't want to list these things. But besides that, it's just a dynamic call in the contract, so you can allow that, and that's forward.
I think that's a good question. And so for us, so we have a weekly token listing committee in our company. And we have 5 departments: business development, marketing, legal, compliance, risk, and sorry, I forgot the last one. But we have 5 components. And so we are doing the strict due diligence of the token issuers, including the management, advisors, and also, as they said, we are reviewing all the white paper and legal memo. So with this, so the listing the scam coin is very, very bad for the exchange, because we will lose the reputation easily if we list such token. So we are having a strict rule internally.
Oh, but this is kind of an interesting topic. So in a decentralized exchange, how you guys planning to process, those listing process in a decentralized fashion? How are you going to manage those operations? Must be a key issue for the decentralized exchange.
Yeah, I think that's impossible to decentralize because it's people, is not technology.
Okay.
So you have to look at the legal sides, who is behind, if it's legit, and so on. So it requires a certain degree of centralization on doing this verification.
I also agree. I mean, we can decentralize a few sort of like part of it. Like we can allow the users to vote, like what are the tokens that they want to be listed on the platform. But the final decision is still subject to whether the token is not a security or not a commodity according to our local law.
I see. So probably the hybrid model will be a practical approach at this moment. Got it. Interesting. Any other questions? はい、結構いるな。Yeah, let's go start from there.
Sorry. Thanks for presentation. And in my opinion, like the centralized exchange is like integral because like all the money like comes into the like cryptocurrency are currently fiat currency, right? And what do you think about the like integration of centralized exchange and decentralized exchange, like in terms of, I mean, how would they coexist together? Do you think?
I see. Yeah. So how are you gonna? Yeah. Go ahead.
So I think this is the same question you had before, but for a little different spring, let's say. Yeah, I think sharing liquidity in some cases, like having the methods to share liquidity, like OTC, like other books for some markets, and fiat ramp up. Like we have this, I have showed here a while ago, right? Next we have this idea of redirecting you to partners when you need to onboard on fiat, and I think that these partners that onboard fiat, some of them will be centralized exchanges, and that's okay, is their business. Like if you want to trade something, or if you need to acquire a token you don't have, and you don't have a balance on other tokens to do this trade, we could send you to a partner that can provide you this service. So I think that's a way to collaborate also.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thanks. So we know the centralized exchanges are regulated and you have a license and you do KYC and AML. I was actually very surprised and interested to hear that the decentralized exchanges are also doing KYC and AML. Does that mean that you can expect to get an FSA license in the future?
Oh. Yeah. You wanna go?
We are not sure yet because like even in Singapore, there's no license for centralized exchanges. So we are still exploring and talking to the regulators over there. Yeah.
I think it's much more complicated because when you think about decentralized exchanges, you are talking about really global user base. So to comply to all the regulations of 205 countries, you would have more lawyers than engineers, right? So in part, for your regulation where you are established, yes, of course, you're going to do everything you can to be compliant there, and you're going to do KYC and AML to guarantee that your users are legit, but you're not going to pursue exchanges licenses across the globe. It's just impossible to do it.
No. No. Yeah.
So So now I'm not clear whether decentralized exchange can get a license in Japan because the Japan FS's requirement. So the segregation of the customer's asset is a very important point. One of the very important points. But decentralized exchanges do not hold the customer's assets, right?
Right.
So in that sense, so when the new cryptocurrency law is buried in Japan, there are no decentralized exchanges. So Japan FSA did not expect that. That's why there is a huge gap between the act and the current situation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, multiply that for other countries in the world. So it's like if Japan has this law, and Japan is a very advanced country, imagine all the other places. So I don't see decentralized exchanges pursuing licenses across the globe.
I see. So which means that asset segregation and also the KYC user identification should be more separately run in a decentralized exchange. Otherwise, can run global-based transaction.
Yeah. The approach we take is more or less like a Kyber one. So we attach the approval to the address, and we know that he can trade at certain threshold.
Right.
A higher threshold requires a different KYC procedure, and then this will depend where he's trading from. So it's quite complex.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
complex.
But it is the way to proceed right now.
Right. That's the feature of the decentralized exchange. Interesting. Do you want to add other stuff there? Is that okay?
No.
Okay. Okay. Any other question?
Thank you for good discussion. Thank you very much. I want to ask you, currently, central bank can control, but sometimes cannot control the market because they can increase interest, high interest or low interest, prepare the market. Near future, decentralized system will complete. Then, how to treat the market? Of course, there is not a right answer, but I want to know your answer, please.
But are you talking about the money supply or like
Yeah, money supply. Yeah.
also or entire
Yeah.
financial settlement system?
Yeah, I think he's talking about monetary policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, monetary easy or monetary. Yeah.
Cost of money, right?
Yeah.
I think even if all the currencies from states was in blockchain, I imagine that most countries, not all, but most countries, the biggest ones, would still want to have some kind of control on their currencies to do monetary policy. So I don't see this coming around regardless of technology, right? So we are using golden coins in the past. Now you have modern credit cards, but you still do monetary policy. So I think even though this digital fiat will be on blockchain, the central banks will still have this power.
So I guess the idea of why blockchain and cryptocurrency exists is because we do not want to have any central party to decide whether the interest rate can be higher or lower, right? So that's why people work on decentralized cryptocurrency. I mean, of course, people can still have some sort of voting system for the coin holders to decide how they want to do with their money. But currently, I haven't seen any system is doing that yet.
So I'm not caring about whether fiat or crypto because the digitalization of the money, no one cannot stop. No one can stop. So the countries of Estonia and even Venezuela is a plan to issue their own digital currency, right? So this tide cannot stop.
Right.
I think that in this scenario, right, in this future, the thing that people say about store of value in Bitcoin start to have like more truth, right? Right now is not really truth. There's a lot of speculation on that, but as soon as you have fiat on blockchain and things like that, then you have true store of value on assets on these chains also. And I agree with Kyber that the like if you go to block zero in Bitcoin, is all about quantitative easing, right? You have the Financial Times cover registered on the block. So the when I say that countries will still have control is not because I think it's just the nature. They will try to control these things, but it's very hard to try to control the market through supply of money or interest rates and things like that. And it's such a complex system, and it will become even more complex. That's why I said that not every country will want to do that. And I don't know, maybe in 15 years, everybody just give up and say, okay, it's all this blockchain, decentralized. But I don't see that right now.
I think as a moderator, even as a moderator, actually, I'm working on a post-capitalism over 15 years, so I have a couple opinions about this. So why central banks have to focus on the monetary supply? Because all the monetary supply model based on right now is the permanent inflation model, which is actually made by monetarism, Milton Friedman. So, but why we have to focus on our central banks have to deal with that permanent inflation targets, at least minimum 2% a year, is that based on actually coming from actually GDP, gross domestic products, because our economic growth all the time defined by amount of capital calculated by GDP. So that's why the central bank has to issue more money more than last year. So, but now Bitcoin bring limited supply model here, completely P2P system stuff. So I think it's kind of long-term challenge that how we're gonna reinvent or redefine how much actual money or currency should be required to maintain a specific economic zone. And in my past try, I ran my company OB, and I run the kind of natural depreciation currency model, which is actually embedded by Silvio Gesell, almost like 100 years ago. But from the economic incentive perspective for the mass adoption, it's kind of a little too early. That's what I found out. So from that perspective, probably we need some new challenge for this, leveraging the limited supply of the Bitcoin or any other crypto assets in the world. Yeah, that's my opinion. Any other question?
We'll take one more question.
Oh, yeah.
I believe a lot of us here have used Ether Delta before, and it is just a pain in the ass to use. Transaction speed is slow, the orders don't go through. How does Ethereum network or other blockchain transaction speed play into the performance of the exchanges? And if it gets effect to it, what are the exchanges' solutions and plans to improvise and make it better?
So we are currently running on Ethereum blockchain as well, and we also realize the scalability challenges. So we have different approaches. One of the solutions is to build a state channel for our own exchange. So the idea here is you can trade a lot of times, but only when you want to settle, there will be a transaction on the blockchain. Another solution that we are also exploring is to build sort of like a sidechain, which is specific for trading. So now we can have a much better performance than a public blockchain like Ethereum.
Yes, the solutions we are going after is quite similar. It's channels between the exchange and the user, not like Lightning, where you can have a network of channels, so a little simplified. But channels where you can have many trades in a single transaction. So to summarize, the idea is when you settle the trades, you do a single transaction on the blockchain, but actually represents many trades, right? So being a side chain or being a state channel, all these have the same idea. You are compressing the amount of trades you do in a single transaction. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's about good time to finish this session. So thank you very much, guys. Yes, so please enjoy the event.
Thank you.